I'm positive many of you saw the title to this video, and before Tai Lopez could finish humble bragging his way through his "This is me in my garage with a Lamborghini" after reading all of these books, self-help motivational diatribe YouTube pre-roll ad, you and your little Twitter fingers already typed out a comment about how you built a rifle as good, if not better, than the LVOA, from the ground up for half the cost. Because yes, Warsport Industries is charging $3,000 for the LVOA-C rifle. I'll admit that when you slap a $3,000 price tag on something as ubiquitous as an AR-15, you instantly become the most hated company in the world, with no one rooting for your success simply because of the price of your product. I also know that there are a good number of you out there who genuinely want to know, well, is it worth it? Say what you want about the price of the LVOA-C rifle, but this is a pretty damn unique looking rifle compared to the 50 million other ARs on the market. Granted, much of that uniqueness is due to the Skeletor-like super extended rail and the 50 Shades of Grey tactical bondage cord snaking its way through the rail cutouts. Personally, I enjoy extended rails. To my eyes, extended rails give an AR a more complete and balanced look. However, the LVOA takes it one step further by extending the rail to the edge of the break. If you're like me, you likely think it looks great. If you hate extended rails, then you probably think it's in desperate need of a circumcision. Over the last 5 years, I've concluded that in a former life, I was an overweight goth female with emo tendencies. Because I love cupcakes, I listen to Drake, and my absolute favorite color is black. Yet, this rifle is in foliage green, which typically I feel is a miserable color, only suitable for hiding in national parks and recycling bins. But on the LVOA, the color just works. The same way Phoenix Yellow just worked on the E46 M3, which I also think typically is a really shitty color, but for when it's used on an E46 M3. There's a slight sheen to the finish that makes this rifle look more vibrant and, well, expensive. Too many rifles these days come in these ashy matte finishes that make the guns look like they've been buried in baby powder for 5 years. As striking as the LVOA is to look at, it can come off a bit tactically pretentious. Warsport tries hard to convince you that this rifle is a tactical masterpiece, almost to the point of nausea. Take the name LVOA for example. LVOA stands for Low Visibility Operations Applications. I'm trying to figure out what the hell that means in normal people talk. Then there's a Warsport bungee. When I look at the bungee cord wrapped around the rail, I'm left wondering, what the hell is this supposed to do? But it looks cool enough that after 5 minutes of guessing, I don't really care. However, they say the bungee offers a secure grip in wet conditions, lowers noise signature, and can aid in wire cable management. From my experience, if you run a hand stop or foregrip, you won't notice much in the way of improved gripping properties from the bungee. But without these things, having the bungee is better for your grip than not. When I shoot a rifle, I wear 2 sets of ear pro, in the ear and over the ear. So unless we're talking suppressor quiet, I'm really not going to notice a small drop in the noise signature. So that's a moot point for me. Now, as far as aiding in cable management, well, yeah, it does aid in cable management, but trust me, you'll want to go easy with the accessories on this rifle, because the last thing it needs is more weight. I like the bungee, but more for its aesthetic qualities than its functional properties. The functional properties aren't revolutionary to me, but seeing the LVOA rail without the bungee cord really strips the gun of some of its character. At 7 pounds, the LVOA is not a light rifle, nor is it the heaviest rifle in the world. I'm a little old school in that when something feels solid and has some weight to it, I figure it must be of quality. In your hands, the rifle feels like one uninterrupted piece of metal instead of an upper and a lower. There's no rattling, no shaking or flexing. It's freaking solid. But I can't deny that a heavy gun is a heavy gun, no matter how much quality it may translate to. And the LVOA is flirting with being almost too heavy. But it's not quite there yet. If you pick this rifle up after handling, say, a PWS MK114, the difference is noticeable. But on its own, without a lighter rifle to compare it to, it's not a deal breaker. When shooting the LVOA-C, all I wanted to do was abuse it. Like a teenager in a rented Camaro, I ran it hard all of the time like I was mad at it. I wanted to see it fail. I wanted to roundhouse kick it off as a tactical high horse. The way this rifle recoils reminds me of the mechanical letters on a vintage typewriter reaching up and smacking the page with each pull of the trigger. Each shot feels so deliberate and purpose-driven, making each and every shot feel like it matters. The proprietary top hat compensator does a good enough job keeping the rifle flat and the recoil low, but you don't always really care, because there's something fun about how the energy from each round feels like it starts at the tip of the muzzle, travels down the length of the rifle, and explodes out through the magazine well, much like flushing the toilet on a plane at 30,000 feet. It sounds jarring, but it's not. I wouldn't call it a soft shooter in the typical sense of the word. It's more like a soft enough to make shooting enjoyable, but not so soft that it's boring. This thing can spit bullets out with the best of them. The harmonics of the recoil is so deliberate and predictable, I can just ride the wave of energy from each shot to the next, making rapid fire not only easy, but mind-numbingly fast. I have to give a lot of this credit to the CMC flat-face single-stage trigger, whose praises I've sang in prior videos, and doesn't disappoint here. Is weight. And when it comes to mobility and transitioning from target to target, you do have to manhandle this rifle a bit. The extended rail makes the rifle a bit front heavy, which, if you are a C-clamper, won't bother you much. But if you're not, then you'll probably be more perceptive of the rifle's weight up front. However, running the LVOA is where the rifle's front-heavy tendencies really shows itself the most. From a reliability standpoint, I pumped a hell of a lot of rounds through this rifle over the period of time that I had it. It chewed up and spit out every round I loaded into it. And I gotta say, I walked away impressed. Now, do I think the rifle's indestructible? No. I'm pretty sure at some point, if I kept running it the way I was, no lube, no cleaning, it was bound to fail. But so far, I walked away impressed. But let's be honest, no one really cares about anything I just said. What you want to know is whether this rifle is worth $3,000. I really want to trash this gun for being overpriced hype. Not because I believe it is, but because I feel like that's what I'm supposed to do in order to come across more credible. Make no mistake, $3,000 on an AR is a lot of money for most people. The very last time I shot this rifle, I went out by myself with no cameras for a solid 2 hours running athletic shooting drills with it, just to really get a grasp on how I felt about the rifle and whether I thought it was worth $3,000. Here's the thing. There's no question. They spared no expense when they built this rifle. From the sights to the grip, if they couldn't make it themselves, they put the best parts they could find on it. I can't speak for every rifle, but the rifle I have is freaking incredible. Not because it does something no other rifle can, because I can't shake the feeling someone put their soul into the design of this rifle. It's a parts rifle with a level of solidarity and uniformity between parts that some proprietary rifles can't even match. Is it perfect? No. Is it my favorite AR? Nah. It's noticeably heavy. Some of its so-called tactical prowess is a little corny. You can't suppress it. It looks or hate it or love it kind of thing, and it costs more than what some people make in a month. But I feel confident in saying if you went ahead and plopped a $3,000 for this rifle, I'd bet you wouldn't regret it. So yes, to me it's worth it, because there's nothing left to do on the rifle. It's like walking into a Porsche dealership and ticking every option available. Sure, the engine's in the back and sounds like a Dyson vacuum cleaner. Unless you're really into them, you can't tell the difference between a 2007 911 and a 2016. But the things that it does well, the way it shoots, the way it feels, the overall quality, the solidarity, all of those things come together and create something that you really can't quantify in parts and in numbers. Granted, it is a parts rifle, but it's so solid, and I just can't get over how solid this rifle feels. And then when I'm shooting it, I can't get over how fun and how enjoyable it is to shoot. Not because it's the softest shooting, but because it's just a fun rifle to shoot. The way it recoils, the way it feels in your hand. That quality, all of it translates into the entire shooting experience. And above sitting it in your room and admiring it, that's essentially what it's all about. The experience you have with the rifle. So to me, I think it's worth the price of admission. But I wouldn't pay $1 more for it.